Guys, welcome to the Raditude Era podcast. I am your host, Chris Tellez, joined by
Derek Copswa.
Derek Copswa. Why'd you cut me off for?
Because I'm in heel mode.
This is how feuds begin in pro wrestling.
Yeah,
right
it
here.
is.
Just simple, rude things like that.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
a tag team for 10 years, and then he cut him off during a promo.
Oh, yeah.
But guys, if you're listening to this, this is the first episode. So welcome. We're going to be doing a lot of, I don't know, how would you describe what we're doing, Derek? Two big wrestling fans, lifelong fans.
Tall and wide, big wrestling fans.
Well, see, this is also how a feud would begin right now. Right there, I would hit you in the back with a chair for saying that.
Well, you were tall, I'm wide.
Yeah,
I wasn't
well, no.
calling both of us tall and wide.
I am wide, and also you're 7'2", so don't sell yourself short. People can't. That's why we can't do this podcast standing up.
That's the problem with wrestling these days, no selling.
That would be our wrestling tag team, the Tall Boys, the Tall Wide Guys, 15-time WWE Tag Team Champions of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just. What's their finisher? Both double choke slam. They're it's way up there.
Either that or the taller person picks up the wider one so they form a cross and just ram into people.
Yeah, just throw him at someone. He just smashes them with.
Yeah.
This is called the squish. But yeah, we watch wrestling every week. I listen to a lot of everything about my world basically revolves around either wrestling or Weezer. So you came up with a great name for it. You're
Yeah,
like, hey, we
Raditude
could
Era.
Raditude Era. For those of you who don't know, which I believe all of you should, it's Weezer has an album called called Raditude, and Derek just nailed it. He was like, just Raditude Era. We could talk about wrestling and a little Weezer.
They're an iconic band, and that's not an iconic album. Maybe this podcast will bring attention to good wrestling opinions and a good Weezer album that everyone slept on in 2008.
Yeah, and you know, Josh, if you could fact check when Raditude came out, because no lies on this podcast.
Nope.
But I think I'm going to say you might be right.
2008?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty positive. 2009,
Oh,
you
fuck.
idiot. Sorry.
Tell me when I'm telling lies 10 seconds ago.
See, that was a good mix of WWE and Weezer in one sentence.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they hear the podcast and they're like, this bumped up sales of Raditude. And we got to get these guys on the next cruise as performers. Who knows? So Rivers, if you're listening, or John Cena, if you're listening, we are available.
Oh, yeah. And anyone who's looking for the perfect 2009 album everyone slept on, Raditude.
I believe it has the song "I'm Your Daddy" on it. So a lot of people were turned off when that song came out. Does it have "I'm Your Daddy"? Because you know Rivers is awesome, but people don't want to hear him singing "I'm Your Daddy." And then it came out later that he wrote it about his daughter, and people were like, "What the hell?"
Oh, it is on there.
Yeah, that's probably. But all right. So speaking of daddies, we're talking about Big Daddy Cool Diesel today.
I have a Funko Pop of him,
Yeah?
of Diesel. Yeah. I think I'm a bigger fan of Outsiders Kevin Nash than Diesel, you know, if we're talking about gimmicks.
Yeah.
But he was still pretty awesome as Diesel.
Yeah, whenever he went to WCW and decided to go by his name, Kevin Nash, it was the first time I really had to deal with the wrestler changing his name at all, him and Scott Hall. Because up till then, wrestlers would, like, Lex Luger would go from company to company, but I guess his real name is Lex Luger.
Yeah.
How fortunate to become
Watch
a
it be
wrestler.
like Nick Stevenson or something
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
like that.
Doug Sanders or just some shit like that. I'm like, but this dude, when he went to WCW and was like, you know, they own Diesel, I'll go by Kevin Nash. But he looked same attire,
Yeah.
same look, and same attitude. So I was like, I guess I thought his real name was Diesel.
Lawrence Wendell Fole.
Oh, okay. So Lex Luger's real name is not Lex Luger. It's Lawrence Wendell Fole.
I mean, that's kind of a cool name.
Yeah, but he'll be buried as Lex Luger. You know, like when they induct him in the Hall of Fame, I guess that's when they'll actually. Oh, he did get inducted, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did. I think it was pretty recent. You know, when he gets buried, wonder if they're going to call the casket the total package.
Unless
Put a mirror in there too.
Unless like he dies in a way that half of his body is nowhere to be found.
Oh my God.
That'll be some of the package. The incomplete package. The partial package. Man, see, that's the thing. I hope this podcast don't take off. And they're like, I was a fan until they disrespected Lex. or
8 minutes into
Winthal.
our first episode.
Yeah, just no future. But we do get on that Weezer cruise. Thanks for saying something about Raditude, dudes.
Yeah, we need to get on the Weezer cruise and the Jericho cruise.
Yeah. Man, so I did watch Raw last night, and this is the beginning of the pod, so we'll see. Maybe we'll do a Raw recap every week, talk about a little SmackDown.
Mhm.
Maybe if I get back into AEW, I don't know if you're that into it right now, but
I
we'll recap as much as we can.
Started since one of our last conversations watching some. I caught like the last hour of Dynamite last week, and then we tried to watch the rest of Collision, and then it got interrupted by a Dwayne Johnson movie.
Oh, really?
Did you hear about that?
Whoa, was that done on purpose, you think?
They kept saying that there's some screw up, like an error that it wasn't supposed to happen, like it was supposed to be the whole episode of Collision and then Black Adam. But yeah, just 30 minutes into it, I was like, this didn't feel like the end of the episode. And it's just like the transmission's over. And then, everyone was like, go figure, a WWE movie interrupts AEW. Like that felt so like backhanded and shit.
What if they're like, man, I gotta say, I was falling asleep. Black Adam kind of rocked.
I didn't mind that movie. A lot of people fucking hated it, but I don't know if it's better than a typical episode of Collision. I wouldn't know. It got cut off. I haven't watched Collision in months.
Is Collision on HBO now? Is that
anything AEW
still got cut off on HBO?
Yeah,
I guess it's all airing from the same network.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Yeah, I think it's the same like live feed, because we used to just watch on like the TBS website. If you have anyone with like a cable pass and you don't have cable, you can just go to the websites and just stream it.
Oh, okay.
That's how we used to watch a lot of wrestling, but now they're coming to the bigger platforms, so we don't have to do that.
Side note from all the topics we want to talk about, this is my personal life here, but do you have a YouTube TV account?
No. I just have the YouTube Premium because I hate commercials. It's relentless on YouTube, if you've never noticed.
Yeah, well, if you just know anyone who has the YouTube TV app, just see if you get it for me. I miss it. It's expensive, though. I always thought like it'd be nice to find somebody who has like a cable account, because you get everything. And I don't know anyone who has fucking cable anymore.
Ask your parents.
I don't have parents, Derek. Can I ask your parents?
They don't know. They don't know their email login.
Come on, man.
They're old as shit.
Take 10 minutes to help them out to get this information so we could both have the internet or both have basic TV.
My dad still thinks Ric Flair's young. That's how old my dad is.
Oh, no. He's like 80 years old, right? Ric Flair?
Yeah, he's barely younger than Trump. Let's just say that.
Oh, man.
Can you imagine if Ric Flair ran the country?
76 years old.
He crashed so much harder.
Dude, it would be insane. It's like I want to meet him and I don't, I'd be afraid. I saw him on Kill Tony, and I guess that's what got me being like, man, would he even know what I was saying?
No, I don't know. I don't know if he was... I heard they were drinking all day when that happened.
Okay, I'd meet him. It's Ric Flair.
Yeah.
How are you not going to meet Ric Flair if he got the option?
Yeah, he walked out.
Yeah, he walked out because he was just like, what the hell's going on? But anyway, let's get back on track. And I'm talking, of course, of track 1 of Raditude, the Weezer album, which I'm trying to remember that's not Troublemaker. That's Red Album. All right. That joke could have went somewhere if I could remember a fucking single. Girl, if you're wondering if I want you to, I want you to. I think it's that album, I think.
Okay.
All right. Let's get back to wrestling then. See, when I bore you with the Weezer stuff, I'll look into your eyes and go, we got to go back to wrestling.
Okay.
If I'm boring you with the wrestling, I'm going to go, let me drop a little wheeze on him.
Yeah, there we go. A little wheeze.
All right. So last night I wrote some notes for Monday Night Raw. I'm glad you caught up with Collision because, yeah, I did not. Is that Wednesday nights?
Collision's Saturday. Dynamite is Wednesday.
Oh, okay. So last night I called it the fact episode because I said fact so many times. So we're on the road to to Money in the Bank now, which I had no idea, but that's going to be exciting. We had a couple Money in the Bank qualifying matches last night, but Raw opens with the recap of Seth, Braun, and Sammy and Jay and CM Punk last week, the little recap there. And then we had Logan Paul come to the ring to cut a promo. What were your thoughts on Mr. Paul's promo?
It wasn't that bad. He's usually pretty good on the mic. I had mentioned in one of our last conversations, it felt like he was not doing as well,
Uh-huh.
especially when he was, going against 5 of the top main eventers. He just felt really out of place.
Mm-hmm.
And there's someone else tonight from last night's episode that felt out of place and something. We'll get to that. But Logan Paul, I felt like it was fine. I love that he is so like go away heat that Gunther got a pop.
Yeah, yeah.
That was insanity.
Felt like a Gunther face turn, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're still saying you tapped out to Gunther, even
I
though
wrote
they
that.
just cheered him.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Gunther comes out to
I think
interrupt.
Cena's right.
The
Not the audience.
I was surprised they hit him with the "you tapped out" after they just cheered him for coming out.
Right.
And I was like face turn, and I was like, "You tapped out." I like that Gunther had an intense promo on him saying, "I will eat you alive" at the end.
Yes.
And then of course, everything felt face about that except the "you tapped out" chant.
Mhm.
Because even when he gets out and he's walking back and Logan's still talking shit, then you see Jay come out and give him a super kick. And I think you see a little smile on Gunther's face.
Yeah.
It's like, so he's cool with Jay now?
I guess so. Either that or he thinks Logan Paul is a bigger buffoon than Jay is.
Yeah, I'm loving the Logan Paul thing. I think this is going to be, it's a fun storyline. I think those guys are going to work together, and I think Logan Paul loses on main event Saturday night.
He better not win.
That'd be wild if they took the belt off of Jay like that.
We're just going to have 2 celebrity part-timers as champions.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least with this world title, there's like a world title scene here now. You have, Jay has it, but you got Seth, you got Gunther, and you got Logan Paul, and I'm like, man, that's I would believe any of them winning it soon.
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely see Seth winning it before Logan Paul.
Yeah. See, I think like
because it makes more sense.
I believe that the Seth thing, like they're trying to say, Paul Heyman and all are saying this is for the long term. Seth being the champion, and anybody else who holds the belt is basically a transitional champion till then. So I was thinking, maybe they do give the belt to somebody else, or maybe 1 or 2 of them before Seth gets it, because in the last few years, every world title run is a long title run, like almost a year, if not a year. Everybody has the belt. So this is a chance to kind of bounce the belt around a couple times before you put it on Seth, and then Seth has a long title run, since I think he's looking like the most powerful heel and figure on Raw right now. So you want to give him the longest title run. I was like, okay, so maybe Logan Paul does get the belt for a little bit. You know?
If he does, I hope it's a short-lived one.
I'm telling you, I'm calling him kind of like a Johnny Cage character in Mortal Kombat. Like he's just like from the entertainment industry competing in combat here.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, I love the way he's playing a heel character. Once he turned heel, he's just nailing it, man. Like you could tell he grew up a true fan of this.
When he started, was he a face? Because to me, he's just such a natural heel because he's such a douchebag.
Yeah, well, they brought him out kind of as a face, but people were booing the shit out of him anyway. And then he could only do so much, I think, because he was trying to be a face, but he wasn't being like not a douche, know. But then once he went full heel, it's like when they let The Rock go full heel. He could be himself, say what he really thinks to these people. And he's backing it up in the ring. That's what's it's frustrating. We want to hate this guy, and he's actually really good at this.
It would be so funny if not only were they reacting that way like they did towards The Rock towards him, it's one of the reasons was because he was dressed like The Rock when he first started.
Oh, was he?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, like,
he did.
that would be funny. Like, he's just wearing the weird tribal shit with puka shells all over.
I was even just looking at images of him wrestling and his attire and his whole gimmick, and it's just funny because, like, usually wrestlers, when I was growing up, their gimmick is what they wear to the ring. So, like, Duke the Dumpster Drosy would dress like a dumpster guy. Yeah. And I was like, Spark Plug Bob Holly would dress like a race car driver because he was and I was a kid. I'm like, he was a race car driver who also goes to the ring and wrestles matches in his off time. He doesn't have time to get out of his work clothes. And when I look at Logan Paul, I'm just like, I guess yours is that you're Logan Paul.
Yeah. What was your favorite of all the
gimmick?
The job gimmicks? Like I really liked IRS. Like Erwin R. Shyster was like such a funny name.
And he was just wearing suspenders and a bow tie.
Yeah. He's just like an angry accountant. What a funny gimmick.
As a kid, I barely understood what taxes were or the IRS. And as I got older and I looked back at that and I was like, oh, that is a scary gimmick.
Perfect heel.
He could never turn face.
I heard someone in a thread once before say that they saw him when they were a kid and like it was in a Waffle House or something. They asked for his autograph. And he was like, get the fuck away from me. Just like perfect kayfabe heel, shitty to kids in public.
That's great because now when they saw him on TV, they really did hate him.
Yeah.
And when he lost, they were really happy.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
That's how you protect the business.
I'm trying to think of there were so many gimmick wrestlers. I mean, the guy who got the Reaper. No, that's not it. The guy who took the cars at night.
Ballet.
The Repo Man.
The Repo Man. Do you remember the Repo Man?
I see him more referenced in like retrospective stuff than have active memories of him.
Yeah, dude. And he was the same guy from Demolition as well.
Looked way cooler in Demolition.
Demolition was awesome, right?
They were like Legion of Doom clones, weren't they?
Yeah, they were, but they kind of had their own style. They had a cool kick-ass theme song.
Just about everything's a ripoff in wrestling, so I'm not like being holier than thou about it.
All right. Well, he is also a murderer now, so it's okay if you were.
Okay.
No, it was good. No, Repo Man was okay, but that's a funny ass gimmick to look back on.
Oh yeah, especially how cheap it looks.
I remember as a kid watching the promos and him just like looking at like a camera crew would follow him at nighttime to somebody's house, and he'd just be like, "Shit!" He just like it actually shows him repo people's cars, and then he'd go in the ring and get his ass kicked.
Man, I miss segments like that, like. Just leaving the arena and doing something else.
Yeah. I remember Glacier. This guy was like Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. I remember him more from the like WCW Revenge than I do like watching him. But I have seen clips of his matches. But man, I love when they do like the Acolyte Protection Agency in the Attitude Era. They just be at like these bars that don't exist and just beat the shit out of people. Like it wasn't even wrestlers. It's just like starting bar fights with people. I wish we just had more like out of the arena because I feel like modern wrestling now, everything is just like recorded at the arena.
Yeah.
And it gets a little boring when it's always like, oh, someone else got beat up in this wing of the arena.
They will eventually because what happens is for me as a fan, when I watch and they do something out of the arena, it's so funny because I'm like, wow, they never film a sketch at this wrestler at home just chilling, eating with his family. Why are they doing it this time? Out of all the time, and then out of all the times, they get attacked by Triple H. I'm thinking of when Randy Orton, they did the one of him just at home.
Just beat people up
Triple
at their
H
fucking
attacks
house.
him at his house and throws him out his like living room window and stuff. Like, and his wife is, oh my God, what the hell? And I'm like, I love it, but you can't do it that often, is what I'm saying.
Superhero in training, the shit. That's
Rosie. Isn't he in the Bloodline, Rosie?
I don't know. I didn't see his face. Oh man, I miss Papa Shango.
Papa Shango.
That was a wrestler I liked as a kid.
AKA the Godfather.
I would always put powder on my face and go to my brother and be like, oh, Papa Shango, which was like very racist.
Man, it is if you make it. I didn't even think it till you said that. He was in whiteface, so you would be wearing just whiteface.
Well, I guess the voice.
Oh, okay.
The voodoo voice as a 7-year-old.
All right. Well, let's not make our podcast a thing about racism, Derek.
Yeah, Austin has enough of that in podcasts.
The old Papa Shango episode.
Such an underrated wrestler, the Godfather. I love that his heel turn as the good father. Wasn't right to censor.
I like that whenever he was offering his host to Undertaker, and then that was the old Attitude Era Undertaker, where he was like the American badass. So I wonder if they did that so he can act more raunchy as the Undertaker.
I hope so.
I hope so. All right, let's see. Getting back on Raw, getting back on track.
Less gimmicks now.
Yeah, opening match of the night. Oh my God, it was actually.
The
it was
qualifier, right?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was just a 4-way. It was Penta versus. Oh, it was a tag team match, wasn't it?
Penta and AJ versus Judgment Day.
Yeah,
great match,
dude. I was in heaven on that match.
Yeah,
I was just like, dude. Years ago, this would have been. It's still crazy, but I mean, like, you got the two Bullet Club guys in there together. I mean, watching AJ Styles still is like so much fun, and I'm glad they're letting him just have great matches now. Like last night, he was on fire, and then dude, JD McDonough.
Yeah, he's so underrated.
Dude, I've thought since he came in, like you could tell he came under Finn Balor's wing, that this is a Finn Balor guy. And I'm like, this guy could go. And I just have these, even though he's more of a high flyer kind of guy, he, God rest his soul, he kind of reminds me of Chris Benoit. But he has like a Benoit look to him, you know, but I could tell this guy's a wrestler. And watching these 4 guys put on a show last night was awesome, man.
Great way to open out the show too.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
All these pros just like friggin'
They put on
Penta and AJ matching their attire was like a really good touch too.
Yeah, that was fucking. They're wearing the all red, right? I did love the Carlito interference, of course, because if it's a Judgment Day match, you know it's going to have interference.
Oh, yeah.
It always will. And then, of course, Grand Americano with the metal still under his mask thing. That was such a great ending because we got to see a coup de grace. We finally got to see a Finn pin.
Yeah,
that's a
for
rarity.
Sure. I'll say this about El Grande Americano's mask. I actually like it.
Yeah,
it looks different than a lot of lucha masks, and I like that they found the way to like almost do like a generic wrestler, like a luchador, and they found a way to like still make it look unique.
Yeah, Chad Gable is doing something awesome before our eyes because there's luchador wrestlers and there's long luchador careers, and eventually a luchador is just a luchador. The longer they keep doing this, he's gonna do something no one's ever done. Be a wrestler that's himself, Chad Gable, and be a legit luchador. Like he's gonna go to events and just wrestle as Grand Americano because the mask is awesome.
Yeah,
and his attire is always kick ass, Chad Gable. So I was just like, man, the longer they keep doing this, I wonder how long he'll do this character.
I will say I feel bad for LWO because they've been luchadors on WWE longer. They're like, let's just get like a white Olympic guy to be an Olympic character or to be a luchador and not.
And give him a real push, a luchador push.
Yeah, for sure. It's got to be like kind of infuriating.
What's
for
the
LWO
dudes' names? Those guys are always
Dragon Lee.
No, I'm talking about the tag team. Those 2 brothers, or maybe they're not even brothers. Shit, but
they're not Las Garzas because those guys are with League of Extraordinary Mexicans.
But LWO.
Legados Fantasma. That's who I meant.
That's
my wife and I call them that. The League of Extraordinary Mexicans.
Who is part of the click on the first one. Who is part of the LWO?
Yeah, Joaquin
Cruz
Wild.
Del Toro and Joaquin Wild. Those dudes. Every time I've seen
people like them,
they put on some crazy moves.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what is it? I just wonder what's holding their push. Zelina Vega just became United States women's United States champion and the United States champion.
Yeah. She also seems to have distanced herself from LWO.
Yeah. I'm a fan of hers. I thought they should have had her win that match in Puerto Rico a couple years ago.
She crushed it in that match.
Huge pop, yeah.
She did really great. Like I think that was the first match I saw her in that I thought, wow, she really is seriously good. I can see why she's in WWE because she's usually like in such short, not great matches on TV. And that one, I guess, because she was in her homeland, just like fucking got to do everything she wanted to do.
She definitely went through a little era there where she was like the good guy who just always lost.
Right.
Kind of like Natalia.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of.
Yeah. All right,
Natalia
so also, are you buying
really
any Hogan's Real American Wrestling beer?
No.
Okay. Just making sure, because they are pushing that, right?
Dude, it's one of the worst commercials I've ever seen,
I think it probably makes, after him getting booed out of the house in California, or in the LA Netflix premiere, he gets booed out of the building. And so, of course, he's not live anywhere. And they're just going to play that commercial. And I'm like, the first thing I think of is him getting booed.
Right. And
then I go grab a 6-pack and drink it. It's working. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier that opening match, that beautiful Mexican destroyer that Penta did on JD on the outside of the ring.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
That was like a highlight of the night for me.
They should create like a Samoan rule for JD's head where like if you get headbutted by him, it like decimates you.
Yeah,
They need
yeah, he
something
needs
for
to do
his
a
head.
flying headbutt. Needs to be his very Benoit. But
Chad Gable does the flying headbutt, which I'm like,
a
I'm
metal
surprised
steel thing.
he does it when it's just him too.
They
Like,
got to
I've
do a
noticed
thing
it.
with Chad Gable as Grande Americano with the steel plate under his thing, and he gives it to JD, and it has no effect.
That would be awesome.
Somehow.
It makes me so nervous watching the diving headbutt though,
Yeah,
especially knowing like Benoit did that for like 15 years straight.
yeah. So then we had a Io Sky interview outside, and of course, every time she has an interview, I'm like, they're gonna interrupt her after a sentence, and then Becky Lynch interrupts her, goes to the ring, and has her triple threat match, a qualifier match for Money in the Bank. Becky Lynch versus Natalya Hart and Roxanne Perez. My first thought was, we know Natalia's not winning.
Yeah.
God damn it! I wish she would have won because she never wins. But
Yeah.
she should. She's just I don't know, but. I had a feeling Roxanne Perez was going to win it, and she did. Great match.
I wanted her to win and felt like Becky was going to, and I was like, if Becky doesn't win, it's because someone's gonna fuck with her.
Well, I was like, first question I asked myself, like, if Becky loses, who's she beefing right now? Oh yeah,
Right.
Valkyria or
Lyra.
Lyra Valkyria.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, why would they have Becky win the Money in the Bank and have Lyra just that? Unless Lyra qualified for it too, I don't know. But it feels like they're really pushing Roxanne right now. She was all over this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, they showed her signing her contract, even though she's been on the last like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So now she's like, here's your official Monday Night contract. Yeah. And then they had this match. Of course, she wins. And then they reveal later in the episode, Finn is talking to Roxanne, potential new member of the Judgment Day. They're teasing that. And she's like all over this episode.
Finn was so nasty for doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
As much as he's been ragging on Dom about adding new members, and then he does it as soon as Liv's gone. I love it.
Yeah, he's
I love the
clearly up to
drama.
something.
Yeah, I love the scheming.
I loved the backstage segment, of course, where he walks up with at first, and Dom's talking to the gang, but as soon as Finn walks up, you see this look that Dom has, like he just looks pissed, and I'm like, what a great evolution of his character in the Judgment Day as well. Remember when he joined, he was kind of like the little runt of the group.
Yep.
And now he's like the man in the group, or he's like thinking he is because he has the IC title. But over Finn Balor, really?
And Roxanne's doing so great. She hands him a box of tendies, and it's like, oh shit, dude.
Yeah. At first, I was like,
both of them are
those
messy.
are nuggets, all right. But yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think Liv's coming back next week. I know.
Already.
I read somewhere she's done filming her spot for the movie that she's going to be in.
She must only be in it like 5-10 minutes then.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to be a bigger part.
And with no source, please take that with a grain of salt because I was just doom scrolling and I swore I should have stopped and clicked. Sorry, everybody.
It's okay.
All right. So
I will say about that triple threat match, all three of them looked like they were equally dominating. Like, because I thought for sure Natty was going to look like she was going to get her ass kicked the whole match.
Yeah. She
or
did
Becky would like be taking over everyone. It looked like everyone got their little chance to like seem like either of them could win.
Yeah. I
that
mean,
double sharpshooter was tight.
It was. Yeah. And they were both reaching for the ropes. That was such a good so many sharpshooter teases. And of course, that was a good one. I do think it was a great match. These girls are all great workers on there, so I wasn't surprised, because Natalya, they don't have her on every week, but when they do put her in, and I think it's obvious, like, all right, well, they're putting her to put somebody over. Right. She gets all her shit in, and I'm like, oh, there's a reason she's been employed so long.
She's like the Miz. She's like that gatekeeper, like that mid card to upper level.
I think she's more like the Brooklyn Brawler at this point.
For sure.
Again, it would be crazy if she heard that, but please just. All right.
What we're saying is, Natty, put us in sharpshooters.
All
Come to Austin.
I would like to see
our
her
legs
put your
around
ass
your
in a
legs.
sharpshooter. That'd be great.
I don't know if my body can go in that shape.
I don't know if she could get our legs are like
Right.
we're 7 foot. We're so tall.
Yeah, we're so tall and wide.
It'd be impossible. All right, next we had the Kairi Sane versus Zoe Stark versus Rhea Ridley match. Bummer match, of course. Zoe Stark blew out her knee running into Kairi Sane, so it turned into a one-on-one, and Rhea Ripley did win. I think I really was hoping at least we got to see one insane elbow. I think it was like one of the best elbows ever.
Yeah, she does like an elbow drop like an anime character.
Yeah, sometimes her body angles like her neck is heading more toward like, and her legs go up in the air.
Yeah.
Like she's gonna break her own neck.
Yeah, she looks like she's doing like a kamikaze, kind of like a gleeful, like, yay, I don't care if I survive.
It's what you do with the move. And,
Yeah.
but it was a bummer to see Zoe Stark fuck up her. That was the same knee that she's had injured before. Like a kind of a freak accident.
I don't know whose fault it is though, because when you're looking at the footage and like really studying it, she's calling for Kyrie to like run so she can do that drop kick. So I don't know if it's probably like not really anyone's fault.
Yeah,
it just happens in wrestling. Kyrie misheard. She didn't hit where she needed to be, and she probably shouldn't have jumped if she knew that the move couldn't happen correctly. But yeah, it looks like it was a botched missile drop kick from the ropes, and in the middle of trying to land because she couldn't hit Kyrie, that's what fucked up her leg.
Yeah,
because I thought she tripped, but yeah, I was like, oh, it's a missile drop kick.
Yeah, I thought they just collided leg to leg at first, but once it was showing the camera stay off of Zoe, that's when I knew, oh, this is no work. You know,
Yeah.
She is definitely hurt, and that was a bummer to watch because I really wanted to see her finisher.
Yeah,
was it the Zoe, the something 360?
Yeah, it's like a really weird move.
Like she makes them do a backflip and then knees them in the face, kind of like a go to sleep.
Right.
That's one of the coolest finishers. But hope she's back soon. Then we had Sheamus versus Grayson Waller. I thought, I was ready to hate this match. But it turned out to be really good. I think anytime you put Sheamus in there, it's just fun.
Yeah,
and he was fucking great. When he came out, I was just like, "All right, this is where I go take a shit, right?" But then I stayed and watched it. It was really fun. Just Sheamus, man. Did I tell you about the time he walked by me at an airport, right?
No.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. He was just me, and I saw him and his wife walking by, and it was just us in this hallway. And I didn't say nothing, but I was like, that's fucking Sheamus. And I wanted to, but, here I'm in my 40s, and I'm sure he's used to it. Yeah. But I was like, not me. And then I tweeted about it, and I tagged him in the tweet. I was like, just walked by at Sheamus WWE at the airport. I could tell he was also nervous to talk to me. He did not favorite it. He did not acknowledge it. And I deleted it like 2 years later. I was just sweeping through my tweets. I was like, oh.
That's so funny.
Anyway, so that's why I was pissed when he came out. I was like, it's fight night, really? But no, he comes out against Grayson Waller. Looks like they're headed to Grayson Waller and Austin Theory's breakup soon, even though it's finally. That's the first thing I was thinking. But I never thought I'd see Austin Theory potentially turn face and the crowd ever like him.
Maybe they liked him now because he got a haircut.
Did he?
He changed his hair closer to what my haircut is, which is just down.
The audience was like, hey, that looks like Derek Copswell.
They're like, what we should do? Call the cops.
They go, he must have went to Fantastic Sam's.
But I felt something during this match I never realized. Like, I thought I really liked Grayson Waller, but he looked really inexperienced compared to Sheamus, or maybe they looked mismatched.
I think he just looks like he was wrestling in his shiny boxers. Like, put some tights on, dude.
You talking about Sheamus?
No, I'm talking about Grayson Waller.
Yeah. He just looked so like flimsy compared to how like bulky.
Grayson?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sheamus is such a like solid, bulky guy. And I felt like everything Grayson was doing just looked like a kid trying to pretend they could beat up their dad.
Oh, okay.
And I've never felt that with Grayson. Usually I feel like Grayson's a fun mid-card guy that like has potential. Like I feel like he is what Austin Theory has been built up to be, which is probably why they got paired together.
Yeah, I can't wait till they see what happens with Grayson Waller. If he ever has a face turn, if he's ever written in a more serious storyline, that would be awesome, Same with Austin Theory. They are very similar. That's why I guess they did put them together. Or maybe they're just homeboys in real life, and they're like, let's do business or something. But
Austin Theory's just never been it for me.
Man, I had high hopes for him, because there's a lot of guys that turned out to be mega stars, and they start out kind of like Austin Theory. They're getting pushed, and the audience is like real suspicious about it.
Yeah,
trying to wait for it to happen, and then it happened. Like Roman Reigns, kind of, like
Mhm.
even though Roman had kind of a better thing going at the time, I'm just like, what? I wouldn't be surprised in a few years we're sitting here and Grayson's like a top guy.
That would be
like,
crazy.
look at Drew McIntyre. He was
Yeah.
announced as the next one, and
3MB.
and then he left for years. But you remember when Vince came out and called him the chosen one and all that? Like he's gonna, early.
I wasn't watching at that time.
Yeah,
probably.
before 3MB, he came out and was just talking about like this is gonna be the next guy. So he got a mega push, and then he went into 3MB later, and seemed to just be done with WWE. Left, just became all even more jacked, even better. Comes back and he's a top guy, and I'm proud to say he's my best friend. Drew, come on in. Hit his music.
On the current roster, I do feel like my favorite overall is Seth Rollins. But I am starting to come around to Drew McIntyre because he's doing the shit that I want wrestlers to do, which is more of like he uses social media to troll the wrestlers. So he's like doing promos on Twitter.
Yeah.
He's like bullying the wrestlers. He's even like tweeting during matches.
Oh,
He's just a
Drew.
nuisance. He's a very funny nuisance who gets really personal and just fucks with people. I fucking love it.
I love the back-to-back WrestleManias mid-match tweets.
Mhm.
We followed
Yeah.
those. I love that that's a thing. Anything like original that happens like that is always fun to watch, especially when it's like one of your favorite guys. And I think Raw has a lot of favorite guys right now. They're on. I mean, when you sit back and look at the roster, I'm like, holy shit.
It's the Netflix show. They got to have the best people on it.
Yeah, I got to do a better job of watching SmackDown every Friday because I usually watch a recap when I get home on YouTube because, it's Friday. I'm out at the Coyote Ugly.
Yeah.
Right? That's my thing. All right, so then they showed a little more of the Saturday night main event lineup. We have R-Truth versus John Cena, which I didn't see that coming, but I'm happy that, let's just be goofy with the Cena thing,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. We know he's not going to lose the belt till Cody comes and takes it back.
That'd be so great if R-Truth had
So
it.
let's just have like he's going through the guys I wouldn't mind wrestling, and it's his final tour. So he had Randy Orton. So he probably wrote a list of dudes. So they wrote the R-Truth thing. I'm assuming the post backlash press conference where he
Put him through a table.
Yeah, I think this is great. The whole R-Truth saying for years that John Cena was his favorite, his childhood favorite.
Yeah.
Even though
When he's older than him.
older than John Cena. Yeah, like it's all been leading to this, And
Yeah.
I'm like Saturday night main event. The Saturday night main event seems like the perfect place for this, All right, we have Sammy and CM Punk versus Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. What do you think happens here?
I feel like for the sake of the story, Braun and Seth are gonna win.
Braun and Seth? Yeah. I would feel like they would win because you have to have the Hills win until the big pay-per-view, like SummerSlam. There's a part of me that feels, and I feel like this is definitely, I'm going to put everything on it right now. I think Sami Zayn will be turning heel soon, if not by Saturday night main event. They might be saving it later, but I think he's going to join the stable.
You think so?
Yeah, I think just like the way he came out Monday night, this past Monday at the main event, I may get ahead of ourselves, but like he comes for the save, but just the way they have him wearing all black, the all black t-shirt, he had his hair kind of back a little. I was like, man, they're making him look kind of hillish right now. And I could see him, he's like the only one I could see teaming up with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
Right now, like with the roster that we have.
Some people have said Austin Theory, which wouldn't make sense because
another new guy, like a Randy Orton version, Evolution.
Yeah. Some people said that. I don't think with him currently turning face would make sense, even unless that's just the audience saying we like Theory now, and that's not the plan for him.
That'd be a really good swerve if like the audience, because they were kind of chanting his name on that other show or on Monday because him and the Grayson split. It looks like Austin Theory's kind of going face, but man, if out of nowhere he busts that swerve, he just joins Seth Rollins' faction. Because that's why I said Evolution. I was like, Triple H would be Seth Rollins, Batista would be Braun Breaker, and then you have, I think Austin Theory would be like a Randy Orton type character. That would be brilliant. That'd be more entertaining than Sammy joining, I think.
Right. I think even better would be, this would be a little bit silly, but Bronson Reed, because he'd have a Braun and a Bronson.
Oh, man. I would love with Bronson. But with the history that they have, I don't know if they could. I mean, I could see them being like, hey, we let bygones be bygones. But man, Bronson Reed gave him like a huge ass whooping multiple
true.
times. It
I
wasn't just
forgot
like a
about that.
regular ass whooping. It was like so brutal. that I
Yeah,
was
he gave him the
like,
5 tsunamis.
yeah. man.
I
It was
love,
like-
I love.
he's
By
like,
the
"Can I
way, they
be-"
call a splash by a fat man a tsunami.
They're like, hey, would you let Paul Heyman just be like, hey, what if we get Big Bronson Reed back and he joins our stable? He goes, dude, he gave me 5 tsunamis. He broke my ribs. I was out for weeks.
Yeah,
They go, oh, you were in the Bahamas. All right, so then we have Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a cage. I think they're going to give this one to Damian Priest because Drew McIntyre had the win at WrestleMania,
true.
which he was overdue for. I think Drew McIntyre has been taking L's for everybody.
He's lost for like a year and a half straight, and he's still been like still a top guy to me.
Yeah.
Like no matter what, he's
I
just
think
so entertaining.
over there on that side, I'd so rather him have the World Heavyweight title than John Cena right now. I think Drew
For
is
sure.
fucking, he's hilarious. He's a great in-ring performer, and I think it's his time. But
Imagine them two feuding too.
who, Cody and Drew?
Drew and
John Cena. Oh, that'd be great. You know, I feel like Cena's just working with all the old people he likes working with. Yeah,
Mhm.
well, so far, just because we have Randy Orton and R-Truth. But
He did say he wanted to wrestle some new people on his way out, just to like
dude,
say
Drew
he got to
McIntyre
do
would
it.
destroy him if they didn't write it any other way. That would suck. Like if they had him just beat Drew, like Barry Drew, I'd be like, this is the John Cena of old.
Right.
You haven't changed
Super
at all. Then we have Jay versus Logan for the belt. We talked about that earlier. I don't think they're not gonna take the belt off of Jay, but
No.
if they don't, that means Jay would have to beat Logan Paul clean, I think is the most believable thing. Maybe
Mhm.
Logan tries to cheat. Who knows?
He always tries to cheat. That's what he did with AJ. He did the fucking brass knuckles.
Yeah.
Which I don't get the brass knuckles if he's already got metal in his hand.
Yeah, that's right. It's
The
double-
one
double.
lucky punch doesn't make sense.
Brass and metal. You got to make sure you win.
Double
So-
reinforced white boy fist.
I saw a fucking Repo Man kicked out of one of those ones. That's what people, they always talk about his repoing, but they don't ever talk about his fucking perseverance in the ring.
He actually repoed the brass knuckles and the metal from his hand.
All right, let's see. What else do we have? They're really pushing to Zawa Rusev match next week.
It's gonna be a squash, but
thought it was so funny that Adam Pearce was just like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And he's like, "I'm sure." And he's like, "Fine. The next week it's you versus Rusev." And he goes, "Okay." And they immediately cut to a promo package that I'm like, "How did you already have that prepared?"
I know.
It was so the promo video was awesome. It made like Tozawa look a whole different way. You know
Mhm.
he's gonna get destroyed.
Mhm.
You know, but this is like a good moment for Tozawa. You know, like him and Otis. I kind of feel like Otis might come back and be on Team Rusev. Because isn't that like
Really?
what the whole Redeemer thing is? Like he wants to beat them into knowing like I don't know, like it reawakens them. I've been
Maybe.
listening to his promos. It sounds like some kind of thing. Like, and he's like, I don't want to do this to you, but I got to beat the ever loving hell out of you to
Yeah.
make sure see your potential and come back stronger. Feels like, that's how I interpret it as. So they should do something with Alpha Made. Is that what they're called?
Alpha Academy.
Alpha Academy, because
You're mixing them up with American Made.
yeah,
We're
but-
Alpha Made.
where they fuse up.
Yeah.
That would be cool. They're a faction that everybody beats up.
Yeah.
Now there's just 4 of us. There's 4 asses to kick now.
This is
All right.
probably like speaking of American Made. One time I saw Ivy Nile, and I was like, "Oh, look, it's Squirt Angle." And my wife thought that was funny, but I like commented that during like a live thread, and someone's like, "Why would you call her that?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"God damn
We'll edit that out.
it."
We have kids listening to this podcast, Derek.
They're just gonna think I'm talking about the grapefruit drink.
No. I don't even know what you're talking about.
You never had
so-
Squirt?
Uh-uh.
It's
I
a
mean, I
good-ass
remember
drink.
Squirt. I don't think I've ever had a sip of it.
It's good. You like grape juice?
That could be your
or
gimmick, a
grapefruit.
guy who just drinks Squirt. It powers him up.
I'll just tell people I'm hurting for a squirt, and then I'll pull out one of those cans.
That could be the name of your move, the hurting for a squirting bomb. They just throw bomb at the end of anything. All right, and in the main event, Jay Uso successfully, he gets the DQ victory because Seth Rollins gets involved a few minutes into the match.
Mm-hmm.
We have a big beatdown. And then, of course, this is Sami Zayn comes to the rescue. I'm saying he looks like a heel to me. I thought he was going to do it last night.
Mm-hmm.
But then I knew they had the match Saturday night main event, so I was like, that ain't going to happen. But to me, I'm looking at it as a tease through my eyes because of just the way he's dressed.
Mm-hmm.
His hair looked a little more wet. I remember when I was during the Monday Night Wars, Eddie Guerrero, there was a moment like he was a face when they brought him in.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever he was about to turn heel leading up to that, he was acting a little different in the ring as the matches. And they were like, hey, he's kind of showing a little heel, but he's still a face. And then one week he just had his hair slicked back. And I was like, man, he looks like an NWO guy.
Yeah.
And even though he was a face, I remember one of the broadcasters was like, wow, Eddie's, his hair's a little kind of like those NWO guys. I was like, oh, I was thinking that. And then he turned heel like right after that. LWO was soon after. That's what I think is going on with Sami.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did the commentators say anything about it?
No, not this time. So I could be wrong. I mean, it's just a prediction.
Not saying they have to announce it for it to happen, but like I was just curious.
It'd be if you're gonna turn Sami heel though, I guess you got to do it at a big event, maybe SummerSlam, just because he's such a beloved face, and he's like one of I feel like the only faces you can count on to be a face.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but maybe he gets tired of it. You know, he's tired of being a good guy. He's tired of losing in matches he should be winning. Because I also believe Sami Zayn should be in that world title picture,
and he probably can't do it clean.
Yeah, but if he joins Seth Rollins' faction, he's further away from that world title because they're trying to put that belt on Seth, right? So that would be I would understand. But if they made him, I guess I would hope that he would be a world champ one day as well. But I think they're going to turn him heel.
Or maybe he tries to join the stable just to break it up.
Yeah. No. Maybe.
I mean, that's...
But I say no.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, what the hell are you talking about?
Almost like he joined the bloodline, but he's like creating turmoil between Braun and Seth.
Yeah. Man, what if they had KO and Sami Zayn both in the faction? That'd be cool. Damn. But they don't even have a name for this group yet.
No.
Maybe it won't be a group, a name. I feel like it would be, right?
Paul's Posse. That's what they That's what they can go
Pals of Paul.
Somebody in a comment I read jokingly called Triple H Triple Paul. I just love the idea of somebody like, hello, I'm Paul.
Good stuff. Okay. So CM Punk also comes in for the save. Huge pop. They spill into the audience and then Jay's alone. And I knew it was going to happen. Logan comes in, sucker punches Jay in the face with the knuckle of, what is it, Adamantium Paul. That's what you should call that move, Adamantium Paul. Like
yeah,
Paul?
there you go.
Okay, whatever.
Southpaw fist.
Yeah. No, Adamantium Southpaw fist.
There you go.
All right. So anyway, that's the end of the Raw. It was pretty awesome. That's also, look at us, damn near perfect end of time. We're ending the episode. We have 3 minutes. Before we go, we do want to say thanks so much for sitting through this episode. Yeah. We had a lot of fun. Hopefully you hit that subscribe. As I'm saying this, I have not even started the motions of uploading this to iTunes or Spotify or YouTube or anything, but I'm going to get that all set up. So when you see things be available, click that subscribe button, join us weekly,
click it,
hit us up with any comments. Derek, I'll be on the comedy side. I'll be headlining at the end of this month, the 30th and the 31st at the Velveeta Room. Derek Copswell is going to be hosting all those shows, so maybe come out. I don't know what else you got. You got anything, Derek? What you got for us?
I've got a couple of shows coming up. I'll talk about it on a later one because they're a little further away. But if you want to find out what I'm up to, I'm on Instagram under Big Sad Booty Daddy.
Oh, that's good. And also, I forgot to put my Instagram. It's called Big Bad Booty Daddy 2. No, it's at Hi Chris Tellez. Yeah, and thanks so much for listening, guys. We will talk wrestling with you next week. A little bit of Weezer. Yeah.